Hello everyone, you're welcome to this class. So in this class, we want to look at multiplication by multiples of 10. All right, so this is for year 4 class. All right, so we want to look at how do you multiply when you have multiples of 10. So we're going to look at multiplication by 10, 100, and 1,000 before we look at multiples of 10. So that means if you multiply any number by 10 or by 100, 1,000, and so on and so forth, how do you do that? So that is the first thing we're going to look at. So after that, we're going to look at the multiples of 10. All right, so let's look at this. All right, to multiply by 10, we're starting with 10. So to multiply a given number by 10, so you're going to add 0 at the end of the number. So that means if you're multiplying a number by 10, so for you to just get the answer, even without pressing your calculator, without stressing yourself, you're just going to add 0 at the end of the number. Just look at what we have here. We multiply 21 by 10, all right? So what you're going to do is you just add 10 because we have 10 at the end of 10. You just add 10 at the end of 21, and that is why we have 210 as our answer. I hope this is very clear. All right, so we'll move to multiplying by 100. So if you are multiplying by 100, you're just going to add two zeros because in 100 we have two zeros at the end of 100. You just add two zeros at the end. So that's why I said here that to multiply a given number by 100, you simply add two zeros at the end of the number. So let's take a look at this example here. We have 525 times 100. So 525, we just add two zeros at the end of it, and that's what you can see here. So that means we have 52,500 as the answer. I hope this is clear, right? Okay, so move to multiplying by 1,000. So you can see this is very easy. So if they ask you 28 multiplied by 10, you should know that it's 280. 526 multiplied by 1,000, that's 526,000. So to multiply a given number by 1,000, simply add three zeros at the end of the number. So as you have it here, so 63 multiplied by 1,000 gives 63,000. We're just adding three zeros at the end of what? 63. I hope this is very clear. It's all right. So the next stage now is to now look at multiples of 10. We have learned how to multiply any whole number by power of 10, that is 10, 100,000. So the 10,000, 1,000,000, 100,000, so on and so forth. So now we want to look at multiples of 10. So how do we multiply by multiples of 10? So the first thing we need to do is, what is multiple? We need to understand what multiples are. When we say multiples of a number, what does that mean? So in that case, a multiple is the product of a number and any other number. That is, when you multiply two numbers together, the answer you're going to get is a multiple of the two numbers you have added together. You have multiplied. Just take a look at when you say 2, 2 multiplied by 3. This gives what? 6. So the 6 here is a multiple, is a multiple of 2 and what? Of 2 and what? 3. So which means we are looking at the numbers on the multiplication table. Exactly. But here we're looking at multiple of 10. But before we look at that, let's look at this multiples of 6. 6, 12, 18, and 24. That is, the numbers you multiply, you are multiplying 6. 6 multiplied by 1 gives us 6. 6 multiplied by 2 gives 12. So you can see that it is 6 you are multiplying by other number. That's why I said here that a multiple is a product of a number. So that number here is talking about 6 and any other number. So now that we're multiplying 6 by any other number, so the answer we are getting are the multiples of 6. So that's why we have 6, 12, 18, and what? 24. I hope I'm making sense. So And at the same time, you should know that these numbers 12, 6 is a multiple of 2 of 6, and at the same time the multiple of 1. 12 is a multiple of 6 and also a multiple of what? Of 2. I always mean. And the 6 is a multiple of 18 is a multiple of 6 and 3. 24 is a multiple of what? 6 and 4. I hope this is very clear. So don't interchange it with factor. They are not the same. All right. So that is that on this. Then let's now look at multiples of 10. We've talked about multiples of numbers now. So since what we're looking for is multiples of 10. So as you can see here, we are multiplying 10 by all these numbers. So the first multiple of 10 is 10, 20. We just be adding 10, 10, 10, 10, and 40. So how do we now multiply a given number by multiples of 10? That is our main focus in this part. All right. So how do we do that? That is so we want to check. So let's look at this. So to find the product of any number or multiples of 10, first write the product of the basic facts. Now we have some basic fact like we know multiplication table of 2, multiplication of 3, multiplication of 6, and so on and so forth. So then we add in the same number of zeros in the factors. So let's look at this one. Let's use the basic factor of 3 times 4. 3 times 4 will give us 12, right? So we're now multiplying 3 times 40. 3 multiplied by 40. So the first thing we're going to do is that we're going to multiply 3. The basic fact that we have there is 3 and 4. All right? So we're going to add, we're going to multiply 3 and 4 together. And that will give us what? 12. 3 times 4, which gives us 12. So the 0 that you have at the end there will then be added to what? To the 12 to make it 120. So which means we are saying that 3 times 40 here is equal to 120. Basically, we are adding 3 and 4, that gives us 12. Then we are adding the 0 at the end, so which makes us what? 120. So this helps you to do multiplication of any number very fast. You understand? We're still going to look at some other things here now. So let's look at the next aspect here. So we've talked about this. So to find the product first, okay, we've talked about this one. So okay, so let's look at the next part is, let's have this one. 6 multiplied by 4,000. This is another example. All right, so this is supposed to, let's add another 0 to this. This is 400, right? This is 400. So which means we are adding 2 zeros at the end. Is that clear? So we're adding 2 zeros at the end. So that means 3 times 400 here is going to give us 1,200, because basically 3 times 12, 3 times 4 here will give us 12. Then we have 2 zeros, so just add the 2 zeros at the end, and that gives us what? 1,000 what? 200. So I hope this helps, right? So the next stage is, let's look at more examples and see what we're going to have. Okay, we have 6 multiplied by 4,000. So 6 multiplied by 4,000. So that means we're multiplying 6. The first thing is that we're going to multiply the basic facts there, which is 6 times 4, and that gives us what? 24. So how many zeros do we have at the end of the factor, which is 3 zeros? So that means we're going to add 3 zeros to each, so that gives us 24,000. So if we have another number, let's say we have 60 times 4,000 now. 4,000. So the same thing will be done here. We just add 6 times 4 together to give us 24. All right. How many zeros do we have in this one? We have 1 0 here. We have 3 zeros here. That makes what? 4 zeros. So we had the 4 zeros at the end. So that is 240,000. I hope I'm making sense. All right, good. So let's move to another examples. Right. So that is that on that one. So the next one we have this. So 24 times 40. So the same thing, 24 times 4, that gives 96. But the 4 times 4 here, 4 times 4 is 16, you write 6, you carry 1. 4 times 2 is 8 plus 1, that gives what? 9. That's 96. So you just add the zeros at the end, that gives you 960. So all this can be done without holding your pen to write down. So you just do it in your head. You get your answer straight. That's why you learn how this is something like mental maths for you. I hope I'm making sense. All right, good. So we'll move to the next stage here. You're almost done. So this is going to be the last example here. So 32 multiplied by 7,000. So that is 32 times 7. That's the first thing. 7 times 2 is 14. So you write 4, you carry 1. Then 7 times 3 is 21, plus 1 is 22. That is 224. Then how many zeros do we have at the end? We have 3 zeros. We have the 3 zeros at the end here, and that gives us 224,000. Hope this is very clear to you. So that is that on it. So don't forget we talked about uh, right, multiplication by 10, 100, and 1,000. We've learned that. Then we then looked at multiplication by multiples of 10. So having known this, so the next thing is now to go for a challenge. So it's time for a challenge. So you can try as much as possible to watch this video as many times as possible to before you attempt your challenge quiz. So we're going to meet in the next video. Bye for now.